Hey, welcome to the toxic gossip train.
But that's not very interesting, is it? So let's go on the toxic gossip train.
So now I'm assuming everybody has seen Colleen Ballinger's response video, if you could call it that, to the allegations made against her. And of course, she thinks she's like the main character and the manic pixie dream girl, so she pulls out her ukulele and starts singing. Now, a lot of people are saying she had some good points about how internet rumors can take off and the mob mentality can go after somebody, and I will agree with that, but there is a time and a place for that, and it is not when you are getting called out for allegedly speaking inappropriately to minors for years and having abusive business practices, according to the YouTuber Johnny. And I just think as a whole she made a joke out of these allegations, and even if she wants to say they aren't true and they're being blown out of proportion, to make a joke out of it is tasteless and immature. You have to remember, this woman is in her 30s. She should know that this isn't a joke. And I think she does know that it's not a joke, but she thinks by playing dumb and pretending she's just a silly little fool that people are gonna be like, oh yeah, she's harmless. She's just this stupid girl that does stupid things. She is really relying on people's stereotypes. And she said things like, there are half-truths.
So a lot of people are saying some things about me that aren't quite true. Doesn't matter if it's true though, just as long as it's entertaining to you.
But then she didn't go into them or say what's not true. She just said there's half-truths. And a lot of people, I don't know why my camera just went out, but a lot of people are making the argument she addressed this 3 years ago. And while she addressed like the lingerie thing and like the Miranda Sings tweet about coming out as a Meghan Trainor fan, she did not address the issues with her saying inappropriate things to minors and just befriending them and then allegedly using them to dig up dirt on her ex-husband. Like, she never addressed those allegations, and I think they're more serious than the ones that we heard in 2020. And I think in a way she's doing this on purpose, because a lot of her big fans will not watch videos breaking down the allegations and the whole thing about asking Adam if he was a virgin and what his favorite sex position is, and allegedly showing him pictures from Trisha Paytas's OnlyFans, which, by the way, if she did that, that is against the law. So she broke the law by showing a minor explicit pictures. So a lot of people who are big fans of hers will just listen to this response and be like, yeah, this is a situation of the mob mentality and it's all gone out of control. But like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of people like Adam and Becky and Johnny who were deeply affected by this, and even fans like Ella, who she allegedly made fun of for being trans and accused of her faking her disability, which is really disgusting behavior in my opinion. But she is hoping that if she doesn't go into details about these allegations, that people will assume that it is only the stuff Adam McIntyre said back in 2020, which, like, yeah, a lot of that is still what people are upset about, but there's also a lot more, and it shows a pattern of behavior and not just some silly little mistakes I made when I was a teenager. I think she wants
to you, and because of that I feel like I'm talking to my friends, but in the beginning of my career I didn't really understand that maybe there should be some boundaries there. There were times in the DMs when I would overshare details of my life, which was really weird of me. I haven't done that for years, you see, because I changed my behavior and I took accountability.
She's doing this so that people won't look into it deeper and they'll just be like, oh yeah, this is the toxic gossip train.
Right? You guys having fun? All aboard the toxic gossip train. You're chugging down the tracks of misinformation, the toxic.
I will say that's a catchy song, I will say. But it's not appropriate to respond to allegations of grooming and having a toxic work environment. That is not the way to respond to those allegations, is to be all cutesy and be like, oh, of course I can't be doing all this stuff because look at me, I'm just playing my ukulele. And I think that's what bothers me about this whole thing, is that people, when they're called out for something, they play dumb or they act innocent, especially white women. It's the whole white women tears thing, and I know this isn't about racism, but she has been racist in the past, and like, I don't really think she's learned from it, but if she has not acted on that behavior again, I'm glad. But yeah, but she's really weaponizing this whole identity as this white woman who is this nurturing mother who is misunderstood. She made the comment about, I'm basically just like the weird aunt at the family gathering who's like, hey girl, what's the tea? And here's the thing though, she focused a lot on like, oh, I was just stupid and my intentions weren't to hurt anybody. My dog is laying on his favorite toy, the banana dog. But anyway, and the thing is, in situations like this, intentions don't matter. The impact of your behavior outweighs your intentions. Like if you, and this is a totally different scenario, but let's say you get drunk and you get behind the wheel of a car and you drive and you seriously injure or kill somebody, but you're like, well, my intention wasn't to hurt anybody, but your reckless behavior still hurts somebody. And I have a hard time believing that she ever thought, as someone in her late 20s or early 30s, that it was appropriate for her to be speaking to teenagers about her sex life and her relationship and all of this. I have a really hard time believing she thought that was okay. And if she did think it's okay, I'm also really concerned about that because, ew. But I've noticed a lot of times when influencers are called out for something, they shift the blame to cancel culture, and they're like, I'm just a victim of cancel culture and this and that. And I do think there's some merit to the idea of the mob mentality and people coming with their pitchforks and going after people just because it feels good to ruin someone, I guess. Like, I do see that somewhat on the internet, but I mean, when you really look at the allegations against Colleen, even if she didn't intend harm, she did. So for her to make this about cancel culture is just not good, because you really hurt people even if you didn't mean to. People like Adam and Becky and Johnny, like, they're never going to be the same again. And I know people are going to be like, oh, that's so melodramatic, like, people these days are snowflakes. But no, but adults should not treat children like that. So one thing I forgot to add is she is saying, oh, making a mistake doesn't make me a terrible person. And yes, that's true, but then at the same time during it, she's like, oh, so I'm just like a terrible person because I made these mistakes. And that is a very, and I'm hesitant to say this because I feel like I'm saying exactly what she said we were going to say, but it's very manipulative for when you tell someone they hurt you, for them to be like, oh, well, I'm just a bad person then, I guess. Or this is very prevalent in emotionally abusive relationships where you will be upset about something your partner did or said, and they will say, oh, well, I guess I'm just a terrible partner. And it's like, no, she's flipping the narrative. And I mean, there are people out there who are saying she's a terrible person, but that's not the vast majority of people. But I mean, with the way she's been acting, she's just, it's not good. Let's just say that. And now I want to go into a little bit about how she referenced that TMZ article saying that she's being canceled over a fart joke.
I'm not a predator, even though a lot of you think so, because 5 years ago I made a fart joke. Hey, my name is Becky, I'm the girl in this video, and this video has over 1 million views, and that is a lot of people to be seeing this story without hearing it from me, so I want to explain this. So I was a fan of Colleen and all the Ballinger family for a very, very long time, and I think in this video I was about 16. If you've never been to a Miranda show, Colleen frequently has segments where she calls people up on stage. One of those segments was the porn bit, which I'm not really going to be explaining in this video, but that's why I was kind of trying to dress skimpy so that I would be called up on stage and basically get degraded by Miranda. But I did not get called up for that. I got called up for the yoga challenge. Now, as soon as I stood up from the audience, I saw Colleen's eyes widen because she realized I was not wearing pants. But for some reason, that didn't stop her from continuing. In fact, no adult at any point stepped in this situation. So we get to the point in the yoga challenge where I am laying down and Colleen is spreading my legs basically as far as she can. She spreads them so far that you can see the spandex I was wearing under my romper, which thank God I was wearing.
Now, the original video posted by Xandar, I'm sorry if I pronounced her name wrong, is only a screenshot, but there is a whole video of this. But that screenshot is the most important because that is the moment I will never forget, where I was laying under Colleen and she was smirking down at me while thousands of people were laughing, and I was terrified that my body wasn't covered up enough by the spandex or the romper. I basically felt naked, so it felt incredibly sexually violating. I was younger and my body was still developing and I was still becoming comfortable with myself, so for her to use my body as entertainment on stage really set my confidence back quite a lot. And not to mention, after all this, after the show, I had to walk back to my car where there was many a men staring at me in a very predatory way that they were not looking at me before because of how exposed I had been on stage. So I literally did not feel safe leaving the venue.
Because 5 years ago, I made a fart joke. So...
I don't even know what to say about this video. It is so completely unhinged. But to Colleen, since apparently you cannot have like a normal discussion and you need to bring songwriting into these things, I also have a ukulele if you need me to sing you a song about why it wasn't just a fart joke and why I felt violated as a fan of yours, since again apparently this is the only way you can communicate. But yeah, I can sing you a song. I can go right now if you'd like. I'm not very good at songwriting or singing, but you know, I wouldn't be invalidating other people's trauma for 10 minutes, so therefore it would probably be a better song than whatever the hell this is.
The thing with Becky was not just a fart joke. She took, I believe Becky was 16 at the time, but she was around that age. And she was wearing a short romper, and Colleen had her come on the stage and made her lay down, and she spread her legs as far as she could, and Becky felt exposed by this. It is not for Colleen to say, oh, it was just a joke, because even if it was, if it made Becky uncomfortable, that's all that matters. You made your young teenage fan uncomfortable, and you exposed her to all of these people. And I know there are people saying, well, she signed up for that. She knew what Colleen did at her shows. But I want you to take a step back and think back to when you were a young teenager and your favorite celebrity, if they, like, when it's your favorite celebrity, a lot of times you'll look past things and just go along with things because they're giving you attention, and that is up to the adult to know better and to be like, no, just because I can do this and I can get away with it doesn't mean I should. I think a lot of this just comes down to Colleen being an adult and taking responsibility for her actions and realizing that when she has minor fans, there's nothing wrong with having minor fans, but you're the adult and you need to act like one and stop putting on this act of the silly little girl who plays the ukulele and whoops, I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to talk about sex with minors, whoops. Everybody makes that mistake, right? No. I have made a lot of mistakes in my life and done a lot that I am not proud of. But I can say with certainty that I have never engaged in those conversations with minors while I was an adult. Did I do that as a minor? Yes, because we all thought we were edgy and cool to make sex jokes. But that's what minors do. That's what children do. But you're the adult. You're not supposed to behave that way. Again, I'm going to bring this back to if she was a teacher and she was talking to students in that way and making these jokes, would that be okay? No. So yeah, this isn't a toxic gossip train, Colleen. You need to grow up and not act like this. And stop with this whole act of, oh, I'm so upset, I'm being canceled on the internet. Like, no, you need to acknowledge the hurt that you caused and not just be flippant about it.
They made a mistake, and that mistake doesn't make them a terrible human. It just makes them a human. So what do I know? Fuck me, right?
But what do I know? Fuck me, right? So yeah, that's about all I had to say for this video. If you learned something, please give it a big thumbs up. I know I'm much later than other people on making this video, but the point of my channel is not to be the first to talk about something. I would much rather let something sink in and be able to make sense of it and talk about it instead of just being reactionary and being the first person to get a video out. And I'm not shading people that got it out before me. I'm just saying that I'm the type of person, I definitely need time to think about something before I just jump on it. So yeah, I hope you learned something, and if you've not already and you would like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye!